I am a huge vintage racing fan, and recently I had come across this Fiat 642 Bartoletti Ferrari race transporter from a brand called Stance Hunters. And I had done a video on this truck earlier in the week, which, if you're interested in this at all, I highly recommend checking it out because this thing is an absolutely beautiful piece of history and a magnificent piece of 1/64 scale diecast. But for this video, we're going to take a look at another model from the same brand, Stance Hunters. So this is a Chinese brand. It is a super premium brand, so they do very highly detailed models. It does not appear that they have licensing for their models, so that's a little bit of a downside for it. This one, actually, I just noticed this, but this one is a resin model. This is not actually a die-cast model. I did not realize that before starting this video. So we're going to take a look at this and see how this looks in comparison to or not in comparison, but after taking a look at that Ferrari transporter earlier in the week. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off the base. It does have 2 screws. So since this is a resin model, it is very light. All resin models are. So the entire model is plastic. So the base is going to be plastic, and and I drop it. Eesh. And the whole model is plastic. But resin models typically will be about as detailed as you can get in 1/64 scale. They are definitely in the category of display models. These wheels, they don't even budge. So this is not going to be rolling across your desk at all. But you have incredibly detailed headlights. You have detail in the mirrors. Of course, inserted tail lights, which look fantastic. Nice exhausts. There's some detail on the base. No information at all on the base. The model is screwed together. You do have accurate wheels with brake discs and calipers in there. Since the wheels don't spin, they're fixed. You can see inside, and it's going to be really hard to see inside this model, but you can see that there is detail in there. And on the steering wheel, there's a lot of detail in there. Kind of blingy with the gold on the dashboard, which is pretty cool. But this is the third Stance Hunters model that I have picked up. The first one was an FJ Cruiser, and that one was a die-cast model, so it did roll, and was a very nice, actually probably the best version of an FJ Cruiser that I have picked up. And I don't think I mentioned what this model is. So this is a Lexus LFA, and this is number 69 out of 199, supposedly. I never trust these limited edition numbers on these Chinese die-cast brands, but they may be accurate, they may not be. But again, beautiful display model. Not a die-cast car, but that's okay. And let's move on. So next up, we have from Mini GT the Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. This was a car that I originally didn't really have much interest in because I thought it was just a video game car, originally created for the Gran Turismo video game series on the PlayStation. But then I realized that they had actually built it as a concept car, and it does exist as a real vehicle, at least as far as concept cars are real vehicles. So that made me much more interested in it, and I decided to go ahead and pick it up. And so this is Mini GT number 266, and this particular one was a Miho exclusives, limited edition supposedly, but it doesn't have any numbers on it, and they seem to have plenty of these. I don't think these are really very limited at all. But now that I have this is a much cooler car than I really thought it would be. Looking at it on pictures and what have you, it looked fantasy. It just seemed to be pretty out there. But you can definitely see the Bugatti characteristics in the car, and how it is definitely a Bugatti with a little bit of extra styling on it. So if I can stretch out here and grab a couple of other Bugattis, and we can put them together. So these are from a brand called Jackie Kim, and these are beautiful models. So this is a Chiron, and you can definitely see that under the other additional bodywork on this Gran Turismo version, there is the soul of a Chiron in there, which is pretty cool. And then you have the Devo as well. This is also from Jackie Kim, and you can see the family resemblance there as well. So very cool. This is a very cool model. I like it a lot more than I had originally expected to. So that makes me happy. Next up, from another brand that I've been taking a lot more interest in lately, is BM Creations. And this is a 2009 Subaru Impreza WRX. And my first experience with BM Creations was not entirely positive. The first model that I purchased from them was a Isuzu Pajero, and it just didn't sit right. The way the wheels sat and everything kind of bothered me. And actually I can see there's already a tire issue on this one. So I've been a little bit reluctant with this brand from a quality perspective. I'm sure this tire is just going to pop back on though. Yeah, and it does. But as I've gotten more of their models, I have gotten a little bit more comfortable with it. And I think it's an interesting brand because they are trying to do something a little bit different. In that they are, they have this articulating steering, which, on one hand is kind of useless, but it's sort of cool because, like, if you want to take a picture of the car or something, it's kind of neat to be able to position the steering wheels, or the position of the wheels. And they also come with most of the time they'll come with little things to tune the cars with. In this case, you just get a second set of wheels that you can swap out, which those actually look pretty nice. I think I would probably prefer the car with these wheels on it. But in some cases, they come with other additional parts like a roof box, or they'll even come with swappable clips for the front to give it like a more racy kind of look to the car, along with different wheels and so on. And I have shown this in other videos in the past. And this model, this is pretty cool. I like the fact that it's a hatchback. The hatchback Subaru WRX is not. There aren't a lot of good versions of it. In fact, this is the best version of this that I've seen. The headlights, you do have lensed headlights and lensed taillights. They aren't really the best looking implementation of those, but this is not a super premium model. This is a premium model in the category, around the same price point as a Mini GT or a Tarmac Works Hobby64. It is metal body, plastic base. It does not have a metal base, but it does have rubber tires, and then all of the other features similar to those other brands. The mirrors are fixed, but they do have reflective surface in them, which is pretty nice. And so just a quick comparison. So another Jackie Kim model. Seems like I'm really on a roll with Jackie Kim today for comparisons. So these are a little different years, but it's cool to see the hatchback version of the WRX. WRX is a car that I quite like. I seriously considered buying one at one point in time until I took it out on the freeway and drove it on the freeway for a little bit, and then got back to the dealership, and my head was still rattling from how how noisy it was. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to be for me. I need something that's a little smoother on the highway. So I did not get a WRX, even though it was a fantastic car to drive, totally fun to drive. But I ended up with the Kia Stinger instead. All right, so next up, another tiny. This is a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. This is a Hong Kong Observatory version of this. If you've watched my videos, you know that I have a affinity for tiny for some reason, and these funky vans that they put out, which I think are cool. And this one's no exception. So you get the Sprinter van with a set of roof attachments, and then this part should stand up so that you can have like a wind radar. This to me, this says Hong Kong Observatory. It looks more like a weather van to me, like a storm chaser kind of van with this thing on the top. But tiny vehicles do tend to replicate real world vehicles, so I would assume that they actually do have a van, and I just don't know what any of this stuff is. So it's very cool. I like these things. They're obviously not 1/64 scale. They are smaller than 1/64. I don't know the exact scale. Maybe 1/172nd probably. But it has a sliding door, which there's a little lever on the bottom here that it's not very smooth or elegant, but it does open that door, which is kind of cool. And I think these things are neat. I like them, and I have enjoyed every tiny model that I have picked up. Oh yeah, and so these roll, and I've been asked if they, to check if things have suspension, and these do have suspension, so it will bounce, which is kind of cool. I like that. Next, from Tomica Limited Vintage, this is a Nissan Cedric. It looks like it's going to be a dark blue. I thought this was black when I ordered it, but it does appear to be a dark blue color. So let's see what we get when we get it out of the box. Yes, definitely dark blue. And this is another one of these things where it's like, I'm not sure what it is about these that is so cool. These kind of unusual Japanese cars. I'm sure this was brought into the U.S. as a Corolla or something like that. I don't actually know, but this just looks really cool. It's just the dark blue with the silver bottom and these blacked out steely wheels, and the details that Tomica Limited Vintage always gives you. It's a fantastic release. And so, like all Tomica Limited Vintage releases, it's a metal body, metal base, plastic tires. It's going to roll. They always roll. This one does have suspension. Nice springy suspension. Beautiful looking tail lights and a beautiful looking front end. They're just such cool models for such, these cars that should be so uninteresting. They're not. They're just fascinating. I love them. Every single one I get, I say that, and if you watch my videos all the time, you'll probably get sick of hearing that. All right, so next up, we're going to look at some Hot Wheels. But before we do that, I am, like this close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do a video like this every week, and then throughout the week, I do, I try to do a couple other videos. I have a Beyond Hot Wheels series that I'm doing where I take a look at each video is focused on a higher end diecast brand and providing an overview of those. So again, if you're new, please consider subscribing. And from there, we're going to take a look at this Forza Horizon set from Hot Wheels. This is a 5-car set. I was just happy to find some Hot Wheels. They have been still very, very rare in stores, as I'm sure everybody knows who collects Hot Wheels. It's been a little better. There has been a little bit more supply lately, but still not flush for sure. So this was, I threw the card away. This Srt Viper Gtsr. Not my favorite casting in the world, but this is a pretty cool looking version of it. Nice flat black with pink is pretty cool. But I'm not really a huge Viper fan, and this casting is definitely not my favorite. It's designed for the track, so it has the kind of bent up base at the front and the rear so that it can have a better chance of making it around the loops. But it looks cool. This casting, though, I absolutely love. The Porsche 911 Gt3 Rs. Definitely high on my list of favorite Hot Wheels castings. So I'm very happy to have a new version of this one. And same again, flat black with pink. I typically am not really into the Forza edition things, but this particular set's actually pretty cool. Wish it had full detail on the back. That would look a lot better. But not a bad version at all. I like it. Another casting that I've really grown to like for some reason, the 19 Mercedes-Benz A-Class. So last week we had seen this one. This is a A-case mainline release, which is very nice. And now we have the Forza Horizon release. And it's going to be the same thing. This one's got a little bit more white in it. Flat black detail on the front. Actually, this one you do get full detail all the way around. So that looks really good. I like that. It's pretty nice. I like that blue one I just showed a little bit better, but still, I really like that casting. And another casting I really like, the Renault Sport RS01. And it's going to be the same thing again. Flat black and pink. So we'll just take a quick look at this. No front detail, no rear detail. That's unfortunate. Get some tampo on the window though. This casting, I don't know that I've seen one where they've really done a good job with it. They've all been okay. They tend to do a lot of goofy liveries with that. And then the Corvette C7r. And this is another one where this is an awesome car. Just dropped it. The C7R is an awesome car. This casting leaves a lot to be desired, though. It's very similar to this Dodge. Same base, designed for the track, and they really don't look that much different at all. So I have quite a few of these. I do kind of collect Corvettes, so I'm happy to have these, but it's definitely not my favorite. I wish somebody would do a really good version of the C7R, like Mini GT. Mini GT's C8R, fantastic. If they did the C7R too, that would be awesome, because that one, even though it's now dated, I'm trying to do air quotes, it's now dated. It was still an awesome car, and it raced for quite a while, so it would be very cool to see them do that. We'll see if that happens. All right, so era car, Mercedes-Benz Vito, Taiwan ambulance. Just like the tiny HK stuff, I've become a bit of a fan of era car, and I have been, picking up as many of their castings as I can. And that includes a number of these vans, which for some reason I just like. I think they're a little quirky and kind of fun, because they do reproduce, again, actual vehicles. So this one's should have an opening hood, and it should have an opening tailgate, and it does have something in there. So these have been coming with some kind of accessory. Most of them, like my favorite one was the pet hospital version, or pet ambulance, that came with a little stretcher and a kitten character. I think this one just comes with a stretcher. If I'm going to be able to get it out of there. I may not be able to get this out easily. These tend to be a little tricky. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this one's just a stretcher. And it's not the same stretcher as the pet one. All right, that took a lot more time than I would have liked. But yeah, so you get your little stretcher that you can put into your ambulance. And there you go. It's cool. I love these. I know nobody else may care about them, but I like them. Next up, ignition model. So we have this is a Nissan Gtr R32. Okay, so it's top secret GTR VR32 blue metallic. My first ignition model that I had shown a few weeks ago, I was a little bit disappointed in it. Not because it's a bad model, but it just seemed to me to feel very overpriced because these are quite expensive. Because they are made in Japan, I believe. It's a Japanese company, and I believe that they're actually made in Japan, which I should confirm that because it probably says on the box here. Nope, they're made in China. Okay, so that's probably another reason why I was a little bit disappointed with the first one. Because even though it's a Japanese company, it is still a made in China model, and they cost about $40 each. And so the first one was this RX-7. Nothing wrong with the model. It's a beautiful model. This is again a super premium brand. It doesn't roll. That would be my big criticism of it. But it's a slammed RX-7, so it's going to be challenging to really get it to roll without compromising what it's trying to achieve with the model. And then now we have this Nissan Gtr R32. I actually like this one a bit better, but it has the same. It doesn't roll. And again, for some reason, I was foolish and I ordered two of the same color. And I ordered these together. I don't know why I keep doing that. I should have gotten a different color. But you know, they do a lot of detail on these. They are fantastic models. I can't really complain about the models. They just seem expensive to me. So let's look in this wheel. Yeah, so you've got a nice detailed disc in there with holes and calipers and, accurate wheels. They're very nice. Very, very nice models. I just wish that they were $25 or $30 at the most, not $40. But, they are what they are. So you collect them or you don't. I would definitely buy more if they came out with something that I was more interested in. So far, they've only done JDM type vehicles like this, and I think this is a very cool vehicle. But I'm not a hardcore JDM collector, so I'm not gonna jump through a bunch of hoops to get those. Next, from another kind of quirky era car, this Suzuki Every in Advan livery. And this one this one definitely falls into the category of things that I have bought because I'm trying to get one of every casting from Aerocar. So I wanted to have an example of this. Not necessarily something I would collect otherwise, but like so often happens when I buy something that I'm not entirely sure that I would really buy otherwise. I think this thing is really cool. It's cool. It's got an opening rear hatch. Nothing in there other than the rear seats. But it's neat. That's going to be my new word for the day. It's just neat. I like it. Headlights look good. It's just painted detail on the back. You do have inserts for the headlights. Rubber tires, of course, plastic base. This one does have a suspension, and it does roll very nicely. I love it. I didn't think I was really going to care much for that, but I love it. This is why collecting diecast is fun. You never know. And this is why, like, I've been asked, like, why do I sometimes buy models that I say I don't think I'm going to like them? And that's why, because, you never really know. Sometimes you can, once you have it in your hand, you can see things in it that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. This one, though, was one that I thought I was going to like from the second I saw it on the website. So as I have just charged ahead and pulled it out of the package, and without even discussing it, this is a Land Rover Defender from Schuko, Hong Kong Police. So this is a Hong Kong exclusive, or actually it's a Toy East limited edition. And Toy East is a toy store in Hong Kong that is associated with Tiny. So they're basically the same company. And they have partnered with Shuko for some exclusive models, of which this is one of them. And this thing is awesome. So Hong Kong Police Bomb Squad. How cool is that? Definitely the most interesting version of this Schuko Land Rover that I've seen. I collect this casting, so I have quite a few of them, but they've all been fairly basic. And this one has this whole thing added all the way around through the front. Enhanced bumpers. It has bigger mud guards. And very, very cool. So it's a Schuko, so it's metal body, metal base, inserted headlights. Should have inserted taillights. Now these look painted. Yeah, painted details on the back. It will roll. Schuko's roll fine. It does not have suspension. Very cool though. Love this one. Definitely the best version of that Land Rover that I've seen. All right, next we are on a new brand. Work 83. BMW 320i STW. So this is another Chinese brand. Not much information on the box. It's claims to be 1/64 scale. Most likely no licensing. It appears at least that they're going for a super premium level. You've got an antenna. You've got the racing tow hooks. These little subtle details. And we'll get this off the base and take a closer look at it and see if it seems to live up to that level. All right, so it definitely doesn't roll. So it is a display model. It has inserted headlights that don't look too bad. The antenna's a little crooked. But you got these brake discs on the rear, and then on the front, the tires. Tampo prints on the tires. It's plastic base. It's metal body. It's very light though. Where was the resin model? Yeah, it's not that light. It's definitely metal. Inserted taillight detail. So it's got some good detail in it. The taillight treatment, and I think I may have bent this. The taillight treatments could be better. Yeah. So they're definitely going for a super premium level of quality. I'm not sure that they're there. I think the headlights aren't bad. Taillights could be better, although that's a little sloppy. Yeah. It's a cool model. I mean, I think it's a cool car. I like the racing livery. The Jägermeister livery is always cool. It looks good. You can see the nice roll cage in there, the orange roll cage in there. There is, and I just hit that antenna. That's the problem with taking this kind of model off the base and then handling it. They're not really designed for that. But that's what I do. So you do have, the detail on the dashboard, which would be the, the driver information and stuff, so that when the in-car camera shoots out through the windshield, it picks up that information. Yeah, so there's some good qualities to this. They're going for the super premium level. I think they need to improve a few things to truly get there. But it's yeah, their graphics are kind of jaggy. I guess maybe they're supposed to be that way. You can see in here the kind of some jagginess on there. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. It doesn't. Those are decals. Yeah, that's. Okay. Let's not spend too much more time on this one. It looks cool. I mean, if you just have it and you look at it like this, there's nothing wrong with this model. I think the price point on this was not too terribly expensive. Maybe in the $20 to $25 range. I don't remember fully, but it has potential. It's a brand I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And see if how much more they put out. As I don't think they're licensed, so it may just be a pop-up brand that does a few models and then disappears. And again, Tomica Limited Vintage, Toyota Land Cruiser FJ56V police car. This is a model that I've wanted for a really long time. I'm very happy to finally have it and be getting it out of the box. I've almost ordered it on numerous occasions over the last 6 months or so. And this thing is cool. I collect Japanese police cars, so this fits right into that. And yeah, this looks awesome. It also seems that I've begun to collect Land Cruisers. Over the last month or so, I've picked up, 4 or 5 different versions of Land Cruisers. And this is the first of this generation that I've picked up, and this looks really good. So, yeah, it's a Tomica Limited Vintage, so metal body, metal base, rubber tires. It's going to roll. This one does not have suspension, though, which is kind of surprising since it's an off-road vehicle. But beautiful rear detailing, and of course the front end detail looks great. Love the little siren here. Light on top. It's fantastic. I'd say I'd try to look inside there, but it's black. There's no way we're going to see anything in there. Yeah, this looks awesome. Love it. Love it. The next, from Tiny, we have another Mini Cooper in chrome. This should have some kind of number on it. Or not. Am I blind? Maybe this is a special edition. Okay. So a week or two ago, we had looked at this one in the British flag livery, which is pretty cool. It's a nice model. It's big. I believe it's 1/50th or 1/55th scale. I don't remember. Somebody had told me what these are, and I'm spacing on what that was. And now we have it in this kind of a blue chrome. And so this casting has opening doors and an opening hood. The little engine detail in there. which is cool. Nice looking front end. I think it has suspension. Yeah, it does. Oh, I guess you can't see that. So it has suspension. Not a lot of suspension, but there is a little bit there. Mostly on the back. The front doesn't seem to have much. Yeah, it's the same on this one. But they roll, of course. They're tiny. They're tiny HK. They're intended to be, to some extent, played with, actually. Even though they're very detailed. And they have, you know, separate parts for things like bumpers and what have you. They definitely seem to be geared a little bit more towards being toys than just adult collectibles. But they're very cool. This is a very nice version of this Mini. I like it. Like it a lot. So, very cool. One last model. This one from Tarmac Works Hobby64. The Volvo 850 Estate in the Touring Car World Cup 1994. This is Jan Lammer's vehicle. Jan is a very famous race car driver. He drove for Jaguar in the late 90s in the WEC and IMSA GTP category. And apparently he drove touring cars for Volvo as well. So let's see, this is a limited edition, well, number 337, limited production. They don't ever say how many they actually make. And I personally don't care about the limited aspect of things, but some people do, which is cool, as I fight with the box. But all right, so let's take a look at this. So this is a Hobby64, so this is their super premium version. And this actually shows why I have been somewhat reluctant with Tarmac Works Hobby64 releases. I'm a big fan of Global 64, and I just, I had done a video a few days ago on Beyond Hot Wheels video on Global 64. I have not had any major quality issues with Global 64, but these Hobby 64s, I have two of these Volvos. I have this other one was in police livery, which I was actually a little bit disappointed with that one as well. And like the headlights on here for a super premium model, the headlight at grill, it's not good. I mean, let's be realistic. That is not good for the quality of that this model is supposed to be, and the price point, and in comparison to what say Inno64 is putting out, I've had much better luck with their models as far as quality goes. And this one, I mean, it's cool. Again, it just like with that BMW when I was talking about it. If you don't overanalyze it, if you don't pull out your camera and zoom in on it, and just look at it on the shelf, it's a cool model. Like, I love this car. I've always liked these Volvo wagons, especially the racing versions of them. The Hot Wheels Volvo 850 is one of my favorite castings. And so it's not a bad looking model, but when you really look at it up close, the quality's just not there on these. I mean, this is very similar. These two actually look like they could have been made by the same company. They have similar issues. There's like a waviness in the windows. The way that net is printed on there is very similar to the way it was treated here. And let's see, these are not decals though, which is good. So that's definitely a step up over what this had. These are decals, which that is a little bit more inferior than the process used on these Tarmac Works. But otherwise, again, this is the second of these Volvos that I'm actually a little bit disappointed in, which makes me sad. Because I had been, the last few Hobby64 releases I've gotten from Tarmac Works, I had actually been happy with. But this one, yeah, it's unfortunate. And of course, it doesn't roll at all, not even close. The wheels they don't even pivot. But still, again, look at it from a distance. It's still cool. It's a cool model. And, it'll still look good on the shelf. And, so I can't complain about that. And ultimately, that's really what these are. I don't sit there with my magnifier and go over these things as I am admiring them. I look at them from a distance. But there you go. Otherwise, thank you for watching.